Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome back to our economics series. So in our last lecture, we introduced economics in general, scarcity, choice, opportunity cost, models, positive and normative economics, and the big picture of micro and macro. So today we are going to zoom into microeconomics, which is the study of individuals, households, firms, and specific markets. But before we dive into complicated graphs and questions, I want to first give you a dictionary of microeconomics, the essential terms you must know. So why it's important? Because if you don't understand these words, you will get confused later when I say things like shift in demand, elasticity, or marginal cost. So think of today's lecture as your foundation stone for microeconomics. So dear students, let's start with the heart of economics, scarcity. Scarcity means that our resources are limited but our wants are unlimited. Take Pakistan's electricity sector as an example. We produce electricity but not enough. Demand keeps rising, like industries, households, air conditioners, mobile phones, factories, but the supply is limited. That's why we face load shedding. So scarcity forces us to make decisions. What should be produced? How should it be produced? And for whom should it be produced? Okay, so students, look at the left side of the image. A small power plant producing only a limited amount of electricity. This represents limited resources, like Pakistan's electricity supply. Then look at the right side of the picture. Many houses and factories connected with the wires demanding more power than available. So this symbolizes unlimited wants. People want more electricity, industries wants more production, and households want more appliances. So the image visually explains resources are limited, wants are unlimited. The imbalance equals scarcity, the core of economics. Now, because of scarcity, we must make choices. For example, should you spend your evening preparing for exams or watching Netflix? You can't do both with the same time slot. You must choose one. So, and that choice always comes at a cost. Then this brings us to opportunity cost. Opportunity cost means the next best alternative forgone when making a decision. For example, suppose you spend rupee 500 on a cinema ticket. The next best thing you could have bought with that rupee 500 was maybe a textbook. By choosing the cinema, you give up the textbook. So that's your opportunity cost. So this concept appears everywhere, from your daily life to government budgets. So if Pakistan spends more money on defense, the opportunity cost may be fewer funds for education or healthcare. Dear students, next is market. A market is simply any place, physical or virtual, where buyers and sellers interact. For example, a sabzi mandi where vegetables are bought and sold, and Daraz app where online buyers and sellers trade. And the third one is the Pakistan Stock Exchange, PSX, where shares are traded. So markets can be physical, online, or even financial. Now we come to one of the most important terms, demand. So demand means the willingness and ability of consumers to buy goods at different prices. Ceteris paribus mean holding everything else constant. So the law of demand says when the price falls, quantity demanded rises. For example, if Pepsi price drops, people buy more bottles. So graphically, demand is shown as a downward sloping curve. Dear students, on the other hand, we have supply. Supply means the willingness and ability of producers to sell goods at different prices. Ceteris paribus, the law of supply says when the price rises, producers are willing to supply more. For example, if wheat prices rise, farmers are motivated to produce more wheat. So graphically, supply is an upward sloping curve. Then the another most important term is equilibrium. So when demand and supply interact, we get equilibrium. So equilibrium is the point where demand equals supply. So at this point, the market price is stable and the quantity demanded by consumers equals the quantity supplied by producers. So if the price is too high, then surplus mean excess supply. And if the price is too low, then excess demand. So if, for example, imagine onions in Pakistan, if supply drops due to floods, then prices shoot up. So the new equilibrium will be at a higher price and lower quantity. So next is elasticity, which measures responsiveness. So students, elasticity tells us how much does demand or supply change when price, income or related goods change. For example, if Pepsi price rises by 10% and demand falls sharply, demand is elastic. And if petrol price rises by 10% but people still buy almost the same, then demand is inelastic. So this is very important for businesses and governments when setting prices and taxes. Now let's talk about utility. Utility means the satisfaction a consumer gets from consuming a good. For example, eating your first slice of pizza gives you a lot of satisfaction, but by the fourth or fifth slice you are less excited. So that's the idea of diminishing marginal utility. I know, dear students, you are feeling a little bit confused about the term marginal. So finally, the term marginal in economics, marginal means the next or additional unit. So marginal cost of producing one more unit, and marginal utility is the satisfaction from consuming one more unit. For example, a factory producing one more shirt or you eating one more slice of pizza. Now students, listen carefully. In University of London exams, definitions matters a lot. So often the first 2 to 3 marks are for simply writing the correct definition. So if you don't know these terms properly, you will lose easy marks. So memorize definition, but also practice writing them with examples. For instance, opportunity cost plus example, cinema versus textbook, then elasticity plus example, Pepsi price and demand. So today we covered the 10 key terms of microeconomics: scarcity, choice, opportunity cost, market demand, supply, equilibrium, elasticity, utility and marginal. So this lecture is your dictionary. Keep these terms with you and review them often. So in the next lecture, we will dive deep into the other terminologies, the foundation of all our lecture series. So we will learn about demand shifts, supply shifts, equilibrium and real life applications in Pakistan's economy. So make sure you revise today's key terms before the next lecture.